Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm, everyone! It is once again a big patch day. A new event begins. The Lunar Festival is back. But, of course, we have another new hero added to the roster, and that is the Warden of World of Warcraft, Maiev, who, as I discovered when I did my playthrough of Warcraft 3, is a little obsessed. Is probably a little crazy, considering she was willing to let Tyrande die to trick Malfurion into helping her capture Illidan. But anyway, you want to know more about that, just go check out that playthrough. The Warden. Maiev's shadow song stood watch over the imprisoned betrayer for 10,000 years, and hunted him relentlessly after he was released. Some say she's determined, others say she's obsessed. Either way, she will stop at nothing to ensure the security of her world. So Maiev is a melee assassin. She's labeled as hard, and we'll discuss that in a moment. First off, her skins. Her default look, of course. Swap of colors here, I guess, for this skin. Ivory Maiev. Darnassian Maiev. Dusk Maiev. These skins, though. Hell Warden Maiev. These look kind of cool. Plague Warden Maiev. Horde Warden Maiev. You can see the green skin showing that she's an orc. I want this skin. I want this skin. Bone Warden Maiev. Very cool there. Dread Warden Maiev. Very cool. So, her abilities. She has Fan of Knives as her Q, which is a projectile that shoots in a crescent shape. You deal damage in a crescent area. It says, if you hit at least 2 enemy heroes, you reduce its cooldown to half a second and refund its mana cost. So as long as you keep hitting at least 2 heroes, you can spam it like crazy. The Spotlight video, I believe, showed that one of her strengths was AoE damage, as well as engaging in fights. Her W is Umbral Bind. Maiev's next basic attack cleaves and applies a tether to enemy heroes hit for 2.5 seconds. If a tethered hero moves too far from Maiev, they're pulled towards her, dealing 110 damage and breaking the tether. This is a very interesting ability that I'm sure is going to provide a number of potential combinations. And I'm very interested in knowing and finding out who she synergizes very well with when it comes to her kit. Spirit of Vengeance. Send a shadow of Maiev outward that will return to its cast location, dealing 100 damage to enemies along both paths, dealing 100% more damage to enemy heroes. Reactivate to blink to the shadow's location. So this provides a wave clear ranged damage ability that can also serve as a blink. So there's a number of different ways you can use this ability, as I found out. And this is the ability that I think could end up being one of the strongest abilities in the game. Vault of the Wardens, 8-second cooldown, leap into the air, becoming immune to all hostile effects for 0.75 seconds. Passive, Maiev has armor. It actually, fun fact, it actually was 15 armor in the PTR, and then today when they released the patch, it was 10 armor. So that told me that the feedback was people were saying, oh, 15 armor is too much. So Blizzard was like, okay, we'll reduce it by 5 to 10 armor. So, but this provides a way to counter so many different abilities to just nullify them at all completely. Like Ragnaros' Sulfur Smash. Just any other heroic abilities that you can think of that rely on a skill, or either a skill shot or landing gun on you or something like that. This counters so many different things. Just being able to, oh no, I'm immune. Thank you. I cannot wait to see how this is used to counter so many different things. Her 2 heroics. The first is Containment Disc. This is basically a reference to the prison that she encased Illidan and her other prisoners in. Throw a glaive in the target direction. If an enemy hero is hit, Containment Disc can be reactivated to remove their vision and time stop them for 4 seconds. Containment Disc automatically activates 6 seconds after hitting a hero. Warden's Cage. Summon 8 Warden avatars as a cage around Maiev. After 1.5 seconds, enemy heroes that come into contact with an avatar consume it and are knocked to the center of the cage. Warden avatars last 7 seconds. So, not really much of a damage, not really a damage ult. Neither of these really do any damage, actually. Actually, according to these descriptions, neither do damage. They're not meant for damage because basically you're supposed to be getting damage from Fan of Knives, these 3 abilities mainly. These are meant to kind of help provide some crowd control with team fights, like being able to use this to take out one specific hero out of a fight, like Morales or whoever else you can think of that you'd love to take that one hero out of a fight to change the outcome. That's what this can do. This provides a number of wombo combos with other heroes like Gazlo's Gravel Bomb, to ensure that they're going to stay there and they can't run out. Very interesting. Her talent tree, she has a quest in level 1. Each tether applied to a secondary target of Umbral Bind permanently increases the damage by 15. Applying 5, increase the pull damage by 75. After applying 10, increase the cleave damage by 30%. Each hero tethered reduces the cooldown of Spirit of Vengeance by 1.5 seconds. Basic attacks bounce. At level 4, we have a Fan of Knives quest. Hit 3 enemy heroes with a single Fan of Knives. Increase Fan of Knives damage by 15%. Each additional time 3 enemy heroes hit by a single Fan of Knives gain additional 5% damage. Hit 4 enemy heroes with a single Fan of Knives to instantly gain all rewards. So that's kind of like one of those Alarak quests that he has. Deals physical damage to enemies around Maiev. Kind of an AoE blast around her. For very minimal damage, though. Using Blink within 0.35 seconds of Spirit of Vengeance hitting an enemy hero causes the shadow to explode, damaging all enemy heroes for 5% of their maximum health. So I guess a tool against high health heroes. Level 7, hitting at least 2 heroes with a single Fan of Knives causes the next Fan of Knives to drop a star on targets to deal 77 damage when it impacts. Obviously I'm sure these are going to scale as the game goes on. Enemy heroes pulled by Umbral Bind have their physical armor reduced by 25 for 3 seconds. That, reducing the armor of your opponents to make them more susceptible to your team, that's pretty good. Especially if you were going to be going with the quest to try and make sure that you do tether, if not also pull them. Spirit of Vengeance's damage is increased by 3% per minion, mercenary, or enemy summon hit, and 24% per enemy hero hit. So use this to just damage enemies, and it's just going to it's going to get stronger. Level 13, Fan of Knives, each enemy hero hit grants 5 armor for 5 seconds up to 20 armor. That's pretty good. Especially when she already has 10 armor passively. Tethering at least 2 enemy heroes with Umbral Bind grants 35 armor for 4 seconds. Goes hand in hand with that quest at level 1. Blink grants 25 armor for 2.5 seconds. My basic attacks against enemy heroes refresh this duration. So we got 3 different talents to provide extra armor. So she doesn't have a way to get healing on attacks or anything like that, self-sustain. She is all about that armor. Level 16, Umbral Blind grants 25% movement speed for 2.5 seconds. In addition, each time Maiev deals damage to the targets, Umbral Blind's pull damage to all targets increased by 40% up to 200%. For each enemy hero hit, enemy hero Spirit of Vengeance hits, Maiev's next Fan of Knives deals 1% maximum health as bonus damage to enemy heroes. When Maiev has more than 10 armor of any kind, all physical damage dealt is increased by 35%. That, I like that, considering the other abilities you have to get yourself more armor. Especially if you also have teammates like Uther that provide you that armor whenever he heals you. That makes her paired up really well with Uther. And any other heroes that provide armor. And then at level 20, we have, this is very interesting, we have 3 different activation abilities Nothing that buffs the ults. Shadow Orb Vengeance. Reset the cooldown of Spirit of Vengeance. Recharge damaging heroes with Spirit of Vengeance 5 times. Increase movement speed and attack speed by 40% for 5 seconds. Deal damage to enemy heroes, slowing them by 30% and reducing their armor by 20 for 4 seconds. That is my favorite right there. Providing a slow... It's kind of like Shrink Ray, when you think about it. Except it also reduces the armor. Which, as I said, you know, she's all about either increasing her own armor or reducing the armor of her opponents. You know, she's got multiple things here that can do that. Like this right here. So, very interesting. Let's take a look at her in action, see how she works. I know some people usually put out videos of the dialogue that the characters have in the game, especially that they interact with other characters. I don't think I've heard the dialogue between her and Illidan, and I want to check that out. Like with other Warcraft characters, like her with Malfurion, her with Tyrande. Like how much did they delve into the history of Warcraft 3 with her own personal history with those characters, considering what happened in Frozen Throne? So let's see. We are on Battlefield of Eternity. Maiev, Karazim, Zarya, Nazeebo, and Jaina versus Rhaegar, Artanis, Raynor, Sergeant Hammer, and Gul'dan. That tether could be good against Sergeant Hammer. Oh, you know what I found out, though, is that the way this can work is that if they're in a minion wave, target a minion, and if a hero is there, it'll apply to the hero, and that will count as a secondary target. So let's see if we can pull that off. We're going to take this quest. There we go. Yep, see? It worked. Now, see, the problem I did there, I didn't run back this way to try and pull them back towards my teammates, because I was running towards them and they were running away. So if I want to get that pull, I need to run away from them in order to get them to be pulled back. So that was my mistake there. Alright, hold on. I almost forgot. We have to check out a couple of important things here. First off, her dance. Nice, I like that. Very nice. And now her taunt.
I've got my eye on you.
Huh. Of course she does. Oh, and let's see her her trait in action. See? Just a straight up vault. Like, whoop! I vaulted. That did not count because I targeted Gul'dan instead of the minion.
Let's go.
Ah. Man, the AI is learning from human players. Like, whoa. Like, ah. Gul'dan wasn't in range when I tried to use the tether. But they're like, well, human Raynor players do that all the time. Let's see here. gosh, that seems very difficult to pull off. Ah. There we go. Let's see. Let's try it. Why not? Let's see if I can pull it off here. Of course, yeah, Kerosene goes with the talent that provides a reveal when we're not even facing against a stealth hero. Ah, I mistimed that. But you can see it goes back to the location I cast it at, not to where I am. And yes, I have Maiev riding Illidan's horse. They don't have a Maiev-themed mount, so I thought it was kind of ironic, kind of fitting somewhat. It does damage the Immortal there. Ugh! I almost had that. But it's pretty decent damage. Ah, Rhaegar turned away. Alright, there we go. Let's see here. Single fan knives cause next fan knives. Nah. Yeah, let's do it. I like this. Reducing their armor. Gonna go up here and help out. Because after all, Nazebo's down there, I don't want to take stacks away from him. Ah, I should have used the bind.
I must rest, heroes, but I will not.
There we go. Kind of pulled Hammer back there. Oh, just missed Rhaegar. Of course, the fact that, I mean, I could have blinked in there, but then I make myself very vulnerable under the fort. There we go. You can blink in and get him. Let's go ahead and do Warden's Cage for the possibility of trapping Sergeant Hammer inside. I think that could actually end up being a good counter for Sergeant Hammer, considering how often she shows up these days. I've been running into a lot of Sergeant Hammers in Quick Match these days, especially high-level hammers. Pretty sure Maiev and Gul'dan have some history now, too, considering some of the events of Legion. So let's see, how well, let me go check the Immortal. How well does she do damage-wise against the Immortal? 249 a tick right now at level 11. That's not bad. Look at that. That's not bad. Obviously, it's not what she's really meant for. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I pressed R thinking I could target it around Hammer. And then I realized that it casts around my own location where I'm at the time. It doesn't let me target it. So that was my mistake. Okay.
Bleed as I have bled. I am watching.
I am watching. Sounds so evil, Maiev. There we go. Get back here, Rhaegar. There we go. Chased him down. It's like you just feel like that's one of her strengths, just chasing down enemies that are trying to get away. Place that up. Oh, and you can be able to utilize your tether so well that way. There we go, finished off the Rhaegar. Let's see, 35 armor for 4 seconds. 25 armor for 2.5 seconds. I'm gonna go with Chain Gang, actually. Oh, I didn't hit hammer with that tether. We may end the game right here. I mean, obviously, I'm doing a very low-level AI game to get a feel for the character. But I think, oh, by the way, this up here, you can see this is a new thing they added for the game here. It's supposed to be a portrait to provide you more stats, such as what your health is, attack speed, your armor, all the different stats about your hero that you'd be interested in knowing. Like positive, negative stats, things like that. But, I like the potential she has for playmaking. I like that her kit feels great for both either engaging into a fight or disengaging from a fight. A different number of ways to crowd control with her ults. Probably very reliant on Phantom Knives for damage output, but it still feels decent. It doesn't feel like it's under two. She's obviously made for. That's why she's set at hard. She's meant for those who can get the most out of this kit. It's not like just like, oh my goodness, straight up tons of burst damage like Nova or Li Ming or anything like that. You could definitely say she's a sustained damage character, but she has a number of different utilizations for her kit that I really like. So I just kind of messed with the Bonds of Justice, Pin Down, Bonds of Corruption, Warden's Cage, and Chain Gang. That's something I'm going to have to remember, is that I can't like target where I'm going to put it down. It's only targeted around myself. So it's almost like she does the Rorschach thing where she goes, it's like, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. That's, as I would imagine, would be the case when she places that down around, especially in a big team fight, like for a tribute on Cursed Hollow, or other times where it's like a big team fight, like all 10 players. I could definitely see that like being one of those kind of things where it's like, we're trapping everybody inside to finish this off. So very interesting kit. Very, you know, I don't know how much I'm going to mess with that. I doubt she's necessarily going to be a character I'm gonna like enter into my wheelhouse of like regular characters I play when it comes to assassins. But obviously, you know, on launch day, it's hard to figure that out. We're going to see how the rest of the community reacts to her talent tree and her kit, try and figure out which one is the best. I think that at times being able to provide the crowd control, reduce enemies' armor, give herself quite a bit of armor. Like I said, I think she's going to pair up really well with Uther in that regard. Once you get to that level 16 talent for getting more damage when you have more than 10 armor. So it's going to be a timing thing. I absolutely can see her being utilized in HGC and Pro Play. With the way those guys discuss strategy and drafting, I can definitely see her making appearances in that on occasion. If not more often, depending on how they treat her over time in the future in terms of either buffing or nerfs. Some people thought she was broken. I was like, I think she's okay. I don't think she's broken. She doesn't feel like Li Ming does when she first came out. She just feels fine. She feels okay. You know, that's just my general first impressions. Now, I'm probably going to get into quick match and get my butt handed to me by some other players that play Maiev, and they're like she is one of the most overpowered characters I've ever played. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing how that goes. And there really wasn't that much other than Malthael. I was going to say there wasn't that much in terms of other balance changes and things in the patch introducing Maiev. Other than really the only other big change was Malthael. They changed his auto attacks to cleave. They removed the armor from Tormented Souls. And they kind of buffed Last Rites. They also kind of nerfed the quest for Reaper's Mark. So it seems like they're trying to change up how people have been playing him in terms of just apply the Reaper's Mark, just go in with Tormented Souls to spread the Reaper's Mark. They wanted to give him different capabilities and other possible builds. I think somewhat around the Soul Rip, I think I may have seen in the patch notes. But I'm very interested in seeing how people then start to try and utilize Last Rites, if that becomes his meta choice instead of Tormented Souls, now that it no longer applies armor, because that was part of the reason you took that. You could go in and spread your Reaper's Mark, but you also had armor to give yourself more survivability. So it's going to be very interesting seeing how that is received. I may have to check that out myself and mess around with Last Rites. But, yeah, that is Maiev, and there was really no other big changes to go over. So until the next big patch,